Hello everyone, welcome back to Ramon at Home. I'm so excited you're here today because in today's video I'm going to share with you 5 full Halloween DIYs that are super easy and very elegant. In the past few videos I've shared with you over 10 fall DIYs, 5 were neutral, 5 were traditional, and if you have not seen those videos I'm going to link them down below. So for this video I decided that we could do some full Halloween DIYs to inspire you to create something beautiful in your home. So if you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing, and also don't forget to like this video and share with your friends because you will want them to join us, especially for the holiday season. Okay, so now I want to take a second to thank our brand new members this month. Help me to give them a round of applause, and they are Katrina Lindsay, Tom Mohar, Hilda Okasi, Karen Barella, and Jeannie Davis. Yay! Thank you guys so much for becoming members of this channel. Your contribution really supports this channel to create better content for everybody to see. And if you want to become a member, remember there's 2 ways to do it. In your computer, you can go to the link down below, and there's going to be a member button somewhere here on the screen, so you guys can click on that and become a member and support this channel if you enjoy this content. All right, well, without any further ado, we're gonna look at this compilation of fall Halloween DIYs to create something beautiful in your home. Let's take a look. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna fill in the inside of it. So to do that, I have got to get my pumpkin out. So I'm gonna just get this guy out. I'm gonna put it back in because I might use this in another DIY. And then what I'm going to is I'm gonna put this candlestick right here in the middle, and I'm gonna start filling in with some of these ornaments. I want the whole bottom covered, but I do have to alternate the colors so they are all over the place. Add in some black. You can move that little candlestick holder because we want it to be full of ornaments. I'm gonna move it forward, back, forward, some on the corner. And that's just gonna give you that full look. And I'm gonna add, oh, I think that will be, yeah, that's it. It doesn't hold anymore. Then I'm gonna bring my candle and I'm gonna set it right here in the middle. And I'm gonna close, making sure that this guy's secure. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it right here for now so that we can get started with the rest of our DIY. And now the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to cover this 16 gauge wire with some florist tape. It's very important that you cover it with tape because that way it won't hurt your fingers. And look, the way I do it is I just put my roll of tape right here. You pull a little bit. Now this is a tacky wax paper, so when you first put it right here on the top, all you have to do is roll it a little bit, and as you roll, you have to pull the tape. Has a stretch to it, and when you pull, it becomes tacky. So that way you can not hurt your fingers while you're working with this. So I'm just gonna make sure that I do this real quick. It's an extra step, you guys, but I promise you, you will not hurt your little fingers. All right, so I'm gonna put that over here to the side. I have a friend who's a chef, and every time that they do something like that, they say reserve, like reserve, put it to the side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do a cute little bow. And for that, I'm gonna bring out my scissors because I will be needing them. And I'm gonna start with this beautiful black and white D. Stevens ribbon. And for this, I'm going to dovetail. So I'm gonna start with a cute little dovetail. So I'm gonna do probably like about 6 to 8 inches. And I'm just gonna do a cute little bow, about probably 5-inch bow. And you fold down and then you bring it back up and you start gathering with your fingers. This is the trick, is to always spin and have the pretty side up. I'm gonna cut flat right here because I wanna continue adding some bows to my bow. So I'm gonna add some of this deco material just to make it a little fluffier. I feel like this deco material will actually add some girth to our bow. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the bottom, about the same. And then I'm gonna do 2 loops of this deco material. It's gonna give it a little bit of shine because the deco material has that purple thread that I love that has some really pretty shine to it. or sheen to it. Are you guys enjoying this series? I'm having so much fun helping you decorate your home for fall. And I cannot wait for you guys to see what's next. Really, it's going to be a magical season coming up next. All right, so we have two. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the next one. And for that, I'm going to put another tail right here without letting go. You know, I used to do bows different. This is almost like a funky bow, but it's all done in your hand, so you have to spin. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna pinch right here, and then I'm going to do it all over again, just upside down like this, and then I'm gonna cut right here. We're gonna fluff all of this in a second, like that. And so now I'm gonna introduce the last ribbon, which is going to be this orange one. And this one I wanna give it a longer tail because it's gonna be our accent ribbon. It's gonna be on the very top. And you pinch right here. Once you pinch, you bring it back up like this. And then you pinch and you twist. And then you bring it back up. And for this one, because it's the smallest one, you always wanna give it an extra loop just to make sure that it's all showing. Because it is a little one, well, you want to make sure that you add a little bit more. All right, so I'm going to put that to the side, and for this bow I'm going to do a zip tie to make sure that everything is zip tied together and secure very good, because you don't want your stuff to be falling off as you're having dinner with your friends, right? Oh, it's so hard sometimes with one hand, but we'll get it done. There you go. So now we're going to push really hard. Now before I do that, I want to make sure that I introduce this wire that we just taped, because that's going to be what we use to secure to the lantern into the swag. So just push really tight. So now I'm going to cut the excess. So now what you want to do is you want to fluff all of these cute little bows, and also you want to dovetail all of your tails. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back with you. Keep watching. Okay, so the next step is to assemble our swag, and for that I'm gonna bring out all of my stems that I have, and don't be afraid to cut your stems, all right? So what I'm gonna do with this one is I'm just gonna go ahead and bend one up. I just need one up. That's gonna be our core right here where we'll attach all of it. And then I'm gonna bring this guy right here, and also I need to remove this pesky tag. How many of you prep your work before you start working and get rid of all of your tags? And then as I go, also I wanna make sure that I cut some of these stems because I don't want them to be showing everywhere, all right? So I'm gonna add this guy right here. I'll cut it in a second. I wanna make sure that it's like showing right here. I'm gonna cut this stem. And then I'm gonna add this guy right here, but for this particular one, I kinda wanna make sure that I put some on the top. So what you wanna do is you wanna spin them up and around. And then also these ones, you wanna make sure that you play with them and fluff them and make them look more voluminous. Like this, voluminous, voluptuous, however you say that word. I'm gonna cut right here at the core. Then I'm gonna push them back like that. So this is kinda like what you have right here. Remember to push some of them back. Oh my gosh, I forgot a tag. Thumbs up if you guys are enjoying this series. Be sure to let your friends know. They will not want to miss any of the Christmas videos, trust me. All right, so that's what we have. So we have some fall. That's gonna be our swag right here. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna introduce this cute little bow that we made that is going to be so much fun. So I'm gonna add this right here. You know what, I'm gonna zip tie this together, but I'm gonna do it with a little zip tie to make sure that it doesn't fall apart. Okay. Oh, there's another tag, oh my gosh. I thought I cut them all. You guys, let me tell you, we do so many projects a day that sometimes I dream of tags that they're chasing me on my sleep. Isn't that funny? So I'm gonna cut this guy right here. And so now I'm gonna add the bow. It is easier to just let go and you don't have to like really press. Look how cute is this. We're gonna add this bow right here. And then we're going to attach really tight on the back, about 2 spins. And so now what we're going to do is we're gonna add into our lantern. Let me bring our lantern to the center. And I'm gonna just attach this right here. Give it a few spins. And let me spin it to me so I can see what's going on right here. You might wanna just give your bows a little fluff. And look how cute this is, you guys. This was basically a few minutes, as you can see, in real time. Oh, there's a tail that is not dovetail either. All right, so let's dovetail this last one right here, because some of you have called me out on some of the ribbons that I forgot to dovetail, and well, I'm trying to be the best if I'm going to lead by example. All right, so there you go. Look how cute this is, you guys. It is super simple, super easy. All we have to do is turn our little candle on, and you have now a beautiful fall Halloween swag. What do you think? All right, so this is what the teardrop swag looks like after we have given it a coat of spray paint with a flat spray paint that you can get at any local hardware store. So I'm gonna put that away because I'm already done with it. And I wanna start with a deco material ribbon. This is basically a deco mesh roll that they have cut into a ribbon, and I love it because it's so convenient. So what we're going to do is we're gonna start with this material, and I'm gonna just cut in a little angle right here, and I'm gonna do what I always do. It's different to work with deco mesh ribbon than it is to work with the actual roll, but I figured that I can show you guys some techniques. As I told you in one of the lives, I took a class with a lady that all she does is deco material here in San Diego, and I saw it posted on Facebook, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go take a little class, because up until this point I didn't really like to work with deco material because I just thought it looked a little cheesy. But now that I've learned from her how to work with this material, I want everybody to know how to do it. So basically what we're going to do is we're gonna do a bow right here, and then we're gonna start doing loops, kind of like what we do with our ribbon, but I want them to be very tight because I just want them to cover some of this. So I'm gonna start right here on the outside, doing loops. You wanna give them some give. Remember to always give it some give, because it's what's gonna give the deco material some body, or actually any ribbon. You have to give it some give. So we're gonna create these loops right here. And as we taper down, you wanna make sure that those loops are a little bit smaller so they don't look as prominent as the ones up on the top. And you know what, I wanna get me like a, kind of like one of those paper napkin holders that have like a alabaster or some marble on the bottom, so you can put your rolls of ribbon and you don't have to lose them. I think that'd be a cute idea. All right, so now I'm gonna cut right here on the bottom, and then I'm going to start back up, just making another bow with 2 loops. Now I forgot to mention that my tools are going to be, of course, my wire cutters for wire, my trusty scissors for ribbon, and then I have some hot glue sticks and my hot glue gun over here to get started with this beautiful fall swag DIY. And if you have not seen the last Halloween wreath that we did, you guys, you have got to go check it out. It was super cute. I really loved it. Okay, so I'm gonna go right here in the middle. I'm gonna wrap that wire into the bristle, and I'm gonna start doing the middle loops right here. As I was mentioning, I'm gonna put it right here on the screen right now, you guys. It was a witch-inspired cauldron with lots of beautiful ribbons, and then also ornaments in black and white and fuchsia, and it has some lime green, and it was just absolutely beautiful. I loved it. It was one of my favorite ribbons, one of my favorite wreaths that I have ever done. However, if this comes out the way I'm thinking, I think you're really going to like this one as well. All right, so I'm gonna cut right here. And as you guys can see, this is filling out really beautifully, and I just love the way this looks. Once again, this is a deco material ribbon. It's cut into the shape of a ribbon, and all you have to do is pinch and gather. Grab one of your wires, cut it in half. You don't need a lot of wire, so we're just gonna cut this guy in half. Then we're gonna tie with a wire right here because it really makes it easy to attach right here. So now I'm gonna go over to this side. I'm gonna right here, and see how this created a beautiful bow, and then it gave you the lead to start attaching all of these ribbons into your swag. So now we're gonna do the outer edge of it. Twist with your bristles. Once again, just give it a little bit of give. Twist with your bristles. Give it one more. You have to make sure that you really, there you go, fix it so you can do that loop really well. And as it tapers down, remember to do those loops a little bit smaller. Are you guys having a wonderful beginning of your fall season? I know it's only summer, but in the crafting world, we always work one season ahead. And so now right now we're full mood fall, and we're about to move on with Christmas here in about a month. And that's when things get really good here at Ramon at home. We're gonna be doing so many ideas, and I cannot wait for you guys to see. All right, so now that we're done with this right here, so basically this is what it looks like. I'm going to do one more bow just to fill in, because if you're doing a deco material, part of the gig is that it's pretty full. And so basically just we're gonna create one more bow. I'm gonna grab my little wire right here, pinch, and see, this saves you a lot of money because this ribbon is not very expensive. And you don't have to buy a whole roll of deco mesh. However, if you already have a roll of deco mesh, then go ahead and use it. I'm just gonna go ahead and do a few loops right here to continue. And just pinch right here. So this is what's going to look like so far. And the next step is going to be to attach a focal point. But before I do that, let me just do one more right here to finish this guy in a good note. Thumbs up if you guys are enjoying these fall DIYs. Be sure to give the videos a thumbs up, and then also to share with your friends. Let them know what we're doing here at Ramon at home for fall and for the holiday season. All right, so that's that for now. So I'm gonna bring the next items and I'll be right back with you. Keep watching. All right, so the next step is going to be to add our characters, and I already went ahead and put the pumpkin in. What I did is I grabbed the wire, that is a 20 gauge wire. I poke it through the pumpkin because it is made of styrofoam, so it was super easy. Then I just attached it to the back, and I fluffed, and I kind of gave it like a skew kind of shape to it. And so the thing that we're gonna add next is going to be our character, which I love, you guys. He is so cute. Anyways, well, with this side, we're gonna turn it off, but I want to attach him right here on top of the pumpkin. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab a longer, thin wire like this, and I'm going to put around his neck. It's made out of fabric, so he's not gonna choke, I promise. No animals were hurt. No stuffed animals were hurt on the making of this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put that to the side because I'm gonna put it on the back so we can turn it on and off. And then I'm gonna find a spot right here, and I'm going to go all the way back, weaving through the bows that we just made. And I think for this step, I have to take him off of the stand. So I'm gonna take it off the stand, and I'm gonna push all the way back. Then I'm gonna attach those two wires. Then I'm just gonna make sure that they're really tight, like this. And then I'm just gonna hide them with a little bristle. So now that should hold our character on place. And we're gonna have to do some finessing right here. So he look how cute that is, you guys. Oh my gosh, you're adorable. I cannot wait. Then the pack, we'll worry about it at the end. We wanna make sure, actually let me show you real quick. The battery pack, what you want to do is you wanna bring it all the way to the back, like this, and just with a bristle, you wanna push it as far as you can to the middle. Just fold a few bristles, twist them, and that will hold your pack right here so you can turn it on and off. That's for anything that has a mechanic to it. All right, so far that's what it looks like. We're gonna do some finessing with the ribbon right here to bring it back out. We're gonna sit our owl on top of the, how adorable is this? That is so cute. All right, so the next step is gonna be to add some greenery, and I'll be right back. Keep watching. Okay, so before we add the greenery, what I wanna do is put the ribbons in, you guys, because that's what's going to really fill in our design. And I wanna combine these 3 ribbons. So I'm gonna go ahead and just free them from their packaging all at once so I can work with them. So I'm gonna put them right here, and I have this 3rd one that I think would be so cute with all of this. You wanna have your statement ribbon, an accent ribbon, and then just something that is like, that will tie them all together. So I'm gonna start with this guy right here. So I'm gonna start, isn't this just absolutely gorgeous? I want a longer tail like that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bow. I want to make a very substantial bow like this. We're gonna twirl and then like this, and then twirl, and we're going to cut right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring this really pretty purple and I'm gonna put it right on top, giving it about the same tail. Then I'm gonna do a loop like this. I'm gonna pinch, and then I'm gonna come back up and pinch. And then what I wanna do is making sure that the design or the polka dots are up, and then I'm gonna do another loop like this. And then I'm going to pinch, and then I'm going to cut right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna introduce my third ribbon, which will be this really pretty shiny orange glittered ribbon. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do another tail right here. It's kind of like a funky bow, but all at once. And what I like about this ribbon is because it has a beautiful lame back. So you can do the lame, which I think I will, and just let the glitter under it. And then I'm gonna do another right here. You have to start finessing right here. Then I'm gonna leave a tail, and I'm gonna grab one of my wires that I have already pre-cut. I'm gonna pull this back really tight, and I'm going to attach this guy right here. Well, first we might want to give it a little flap so all of the bows are showing beautifully like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna attach right at the base of my pumpkin, if I can find my wire right here. Okay, so I'm gonna add it right here, and I'm gonna go all the way back and then just attach those wires without letting go, because you wanna make sure that it's really tight so it doesn't come crashing down on your door or your customer's door. And how adorable is this? Look at that. Remember, we'll fluff those at the end. And I feel like because there's some black and white here and some purple here, we're gonna need the same up here somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna do single loops, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm gonna grab a smaller tail, and then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do just a cute little loop like this. And then I'm gonna twist like that, and I'm gonna cut right here at an angle. These tails, I don't want them to be so long because this is just an accent, okay? So you don't want them to be as long. And so I'm gonna start right here one more time, and then I'm gonna go down like this, pinch, gather, twist, and then we're gonna do yet another one right here. So I only have 2 of this, 1 of this, and I'm going to do only 1 of the orange as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this down and just do 1 loop right here, pinch it and gather it like this, and then I'm gonna do 1 loop like this, and then I'm gonna cut right here. I'm gonna grab a wire and go through all of these ribbons. You would think it's a tedious job, but it really is not. It's really entertaining. I just love making these swags for my clients because I can spend all day crafting, you guys. And see, all you have to do is just a little loop of black and white, a little loop of 2 loops of purple, and 1 loop of orange, and it brings all of your colors up to the top. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna introduce this guy right here on the top, and I'm gonna take it off the stand to tie it, because I need to go all the way back and make sure that it's very attached to my swag. And just twirl, 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 and then we're gonna put him back onto the stand. Onto the stand it goes. Okay, I need to find my, right here. How adorable is this? And then at the end, we'll probably finesse all of these ribbons just to make sure. So now, because I don't have anything on the sides and I want it to be cohesive, here's what we're going to do. I'm gonna get down and get my ribbon. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not gonna use this longer one. I'll tell you why. There is gonna be too much if I put a lot of it in. But what I will do is, I'm gonna grab this one right here. I'm gonna give it a fresh cut because that's not good. Then I'm gonna grab this guy right here, dump him on the floor, And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do a few loops. So I'm gonna just grab right here a little tail, it's about 2.5 inch tail, and I'm gonna go right here, okay? And I'm gonna go all the way in to make sure that it's attached like that. I'm gonna leave a tail like that, and then I'm gonna give it a big loop right here. Pinch, and then we're going to attach one more time right here. And what that's going to do, that's going to unify all of the swag without having to have a lot of ribbon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more big loop right here, and then I'm going to attach right here. Making sure that I have some of these bristles to help me, and at this point it's getting really tight, but you have to find them to attach them, or you can use wire if you like. And you want to make sure that they are cohesive like this, so you might want to pull on the purple one like that. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some tails right here. I'm going to repeat on the other side and I'll be right back. Keep watching. Okay, so this is what we've done so far. We've added our deco mesh as a base, then we added a big bow right here, a small bow up on the top, and we added the loops right on the side to kind of fill it in. So now what I think I'll do at the end is I'm gonna add some tails of this ribbon to the side, just a few to finish it off, and so it goes all the way around. Remember, we don't want the big loops here because it will really saturate your design. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add some greenery, and remember, I like to cut all of my greenery at once because that will help you save some time. So I'm gonna add some boxwood of 2 different kinds, and then at the end I'm gonna add some fall foliage that I think is going to throw this design over the top. And if you follow Ramon at home, you know that I like over the top. Actually, I'm gonna cut that as I go because it'll be easier to maneuver. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my hot glue gun, and I'm gonna put my little dish. Here's a tip, you guys. If you work with a hot glue gun, if you have a ceramic dish, that you can let your glue rest, your glue gun rest. That way you don't have spillage all over the place, and it's just gonna help you be more organized. So just add a little glue right here, and I'm gonna start right here on the top, and I'm gonna go all the way around. So I'm gonna add right here, and remember to do one type of greenery at a time, and then insert right here. You could also use a hot glue pen, but I'm finding out that I actually love working with my hot glue gun more than I thought, so I'm just gonna use the hot glue gun for now. I'm gonna add right there, and just be generous with your glue. This is Gorilla Glue, and you can find it at your local hardware store like Hobby Lobby or Home Depot. Even at Walmart, I've seen it before, and it's just the best. I really do like the Gorilla sticks. I buy them by the bundle to have because I'm always crafting either for me or for my clients that I'm taking orders right now for fall. So I've been doing a lot of swag, so I just figured that I could show you a few of these designs. And remember to go all the way around, okay? So now I'm gonna switch to this guy right here, and we're gonna finish this other side. What happens on the left happens on the right. If you do one on the left, just move to the right right away, because that's what's gonna give your swag, your wreath, and everything else that you make a lot of balance. And what you're looking for is balance, I would say. Okay, and then also don't forget to go in and out. Like if you guys see right here on the back, and I'm gonna go in because it looks more beautiful if you have some depth and dimension to your design. And the way you do that is going in and out. Like right here, I'm gonna open and I'm gonna go in. So that way it looks weaved in. And at this point, I think I'm just gonna add one to the bottom, even though you might not be able to see it, but you'll see it at the door when I hang it. And I'll go right here, like that. I need a glue stick already. Now the thing about glue sticks is that you do go through a lot, but it's so worth it. I'm gonna put some to the side. You know that I like to put some to the side so I can design and finish the holes that I might left. Okay, so I'm gonna cut 2. So I'm gonna cut them all, why not? I didn't want to because I didn't know if I was gonna use all of it, but I think at this point, since I just cut them all, I will use all of them. What I like about this particular foliage is because you can shorten it or you can make it longer. I'm gonna shorten it because I just wanna fill in. And I'm gonna add some glue right here, smear it to your swag, and look at that. How cute is that? That's gonna add that full touch And this one has a tag, so make sure you take that tag. You don't want your customer, you don't want it on your door with a whole bunch of tags on it. All right. And so now we're gonna start going to the sides. I'm gonna go to this side, right here behind my little character. And then I'm gonna come back in with this one. Some of these ones have some berry bundles and I just think they're super cute. I'm trying not to add a whole bunch of things to this swag because I really do want these two to be my main characters. So I'm gonna be careful not to oversaturate it. However, I did want it some fallish, well, because Halloween is during the fall, so I figured that we could add some, but I'm not gonna add a lot of it. I'm gonna continue adding this fall foliage and I'll be right back. Keep watching. All right, so the next step is going to be to add our big ornaments, and for that I'm going to wire them this time around because I thought it'd be easier and there'd be less glue spillage. If you're gonna glue ornaments, I really do recommend to put it on the table because the weight of it will hold them down to where if I try to attach these ones right here, well, they're gonna continue to fall off. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put a little wire on them and I'm gonna go through here and I'm gonna pull my wire as close as I can to a bristle right here. And then I'm going to attach to that bristle like this. Now I do want to add a cluster of cute little orange ornaments right here. So I'm gonna add yet another one by adding one of these wires. Make sure that you wire this guy really good so it doesn't come crashing down. And I'm gonna go right here through the bow and then I'm going to attach to my bristle. And look at that. That just adds two ornaments right here. I wanna add yet another one of the big ones on the bottom. So I'm gonna grab one of these wires and I'm gonna put it through the little hole. Sometimes I need my glasses, you guys, to be able to see these wires. They're so tiny. So I'm gonna put this guy right here. I'm gonna turn it to me and I'll turn it back to you in a second just so that I can see what I am doing. I'm gonna grab that bristle and just twist that wire really good. And for this cluster right here, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add a black one actually to kind of start adding some texture to my design. I'm gonna add yet another one right here. I'm gonna grab this bristle right here and I'm gonna twist really good. Now, I do think that you have to bring the same colors all throughout the swag. So I'm gonna bring yet another orange to the top. So I'm gonna put it over here and making sure that I put that wire really tight into my ornament, and then I'm going to attach right here. And to make it look cohesive, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add yet another black one up on the top. I love using Christmas ornaments for fall, for Halloween, for 4th of July, for Valentine's, for any celebration. You can use your ornaments because they're not just for Christmas. So I really do recommend to attach some of them. Look how cute these are. So now what I'm going to do is, my hot glue gun. I should probably put it somewhere else. I do need some more wires, so I'm gonna get some wires out of my trusty wire case right here, and I'm gonna attach some to the bottom just to make them pop all the way. So I'm gonna put one right here, grab a bristle from here, and then I'm gonna attach by swirling this wire around that bristle really tightly. And I think I'm gonna stop right here. You know what, I'm gonna add one more, why not? So I'm gonna grab a wire and I'm gonna have to cut it. Sometimes you have to work with what you have, so I'm gonna have to, real quick, what I do is I cut them in two, and for ornaments, I cut it in two and then I cut it in two one more time. So that will give you 4 little wires for your ornaments, and it'll allow you to attach them really beautifully into your design. And I'm just gonna add one more down here. I'm gonna lift it up to attach. You guys, this is turning out so cute. Okay, so I just want to show you the end result on the door, and I want to share with you some of the details like the little owl, you guys. I'm so in love with it because it's standing on this beautiful pumpkin surrounded by ornaments and bows and ribbons, and it's just so beautiful. I do want to add real quick that I added some of these flyaways with the little ornaments. As you guys can see, they dangle on the wind, and they do create something that it just makes it a little bit more airier. You guys, I would not do a swag or wreath without the flyaways, and then also without some of these picks like the leaves and the purple sequin leaves are just so beautiful. I really hope that you learned something with this wreath and that you would give it a try yourself. All right, you guys, so for this DIY, I figured we'd do something we've never done here on the channel, and that's going to be a candlestick. Now, the other thing we've never done on the channel, and I know everybody else out there has a bag full of all leftover things that you've used in past projects. Well, today we're going to use some of it because it's just gathering dust or space. And man, let me tell you, all these clippings do need to be used. So I'm gonna go through that, and I'm gonna select some greeneries that we're gonna use for our DIY. So what we're going to do is we're gonna do a candlestick holder where you're gonna be able to use a candle and then replace it with a pumpkin. It's gonna be absolutely beautiful. So let me clean that up. I'll tell you the next step. Stay tuned. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my mechanics, and for that I'm going to put a dab of glue on this foam right here, and I'm running out of glue, so I'm gonna put another glue stick in here so that I am ready. All right, so I'm gonna make sure that I press down and that will stick into my container. This is a little plastic container from the dollar store because I want it to be a little bit more substantial. Then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put a little moss all the way around this to kind of cover the perimeter of that little plastic dish. So once we've done that, what we want to do is we're gonna cover some of this little foam with some full foliages, and I'm gonna do that by inserting some green, some orange. I'm trying not to burn myself, you guys. And so I want to do all the way around. I want it to kind of stick out a little bit more, and so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna actually put some glue here, and we want to cover this whole perimeter. Remember, what happens on the left happens on the right, and what goes up must come down. I'm gonna go over this side. And the foam, it's making it a little bit more difficult to insert. However, it is very important that you put that foam in there if you want to cover the whole perimeter of your container. So I'm gonna also alternate some foliages. I want some to be green, some to be orange, but I want them all to be fall-like, so that way it looks beautiful. And also I wanna make sure you don't wanna put anything on the top of it because the pumpkin is a little bit larger. So we want to make sure that it sits in it. However, we do want to get as close as possible to the perimeter of our foam because I want to make sure that that candle sits there and you don't see the whole perimeter of it. So I'm just going to continue adding some, and I'm going to just grab glue right here from my gun and continue to add. Remember to alternate the green and then also the orange, so that way you have more of a full feel to it. And I add this guy right here, and I'm gonna continue adding these foliages, and I'll be right back to give you the next step. Okay, so now that I've covered most of the perimeter of my foam, what I wanna do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut some of these really pretty bittersweet to give it some bittersweet. I think it'd be really cute if we add it right here. And so I'm gonna add a little bit of glue to my stem, making sure that I smear some of it. And I'm gonna add right here. And remember, what goes up must come down, so be sure to put some of that bittersweet all throughout so they can look natural. Look how pretty that is. Oh, I love bittersweet, you guys. You know, it's one of my favorites to work with during the fall season because it really just adds so much volume to any centerpiece or to any arrangement that you'll be making. it just adds so much to it. So I'm gonna add another one right here. I'm gonna continue spinning, and I'm gonna add another one right here. And you can actually twirl them like this, because that's how bittersweet grows in the wilderness. I remember when I lived in Kansas, bittersweet was my favorite to work with. All right, so I'm gonna add a little glue to this one right here. And so like that. And so now I have some of these big magnolia foliages. These are gonna be fun because they're gonna add a lot more texture. So you just add a little bit of glue right here, and then you start inserting those big foliages like that. Look how pretty that is. It just helps to cover some of the perimeter because they are a larger foliage. So it's so much fun to use, and all you have to do is just insert like that and make sure that it sticks to one of your foliages around here. And I'm just gonna continue adding this all throughout the perimeter. And look how we went from that little centerpiece to now a larger one that's going to look so pretty on a stick or a stand. I'm gonna add one right here on the bottom, just lifting up some of my foliages, and I'm gonna add right there. I'm gonna continue to spin around. Remember to always spin around your arrangements because you want them to be very balanced, and the way you balance your arrangements is by spinning them around. So now I have a last foliage of magnolia, and I'm gonna add it towards the bottom. I'm gonna add it right here, so just lifting up like that. So far so good. Look how cute that is, you guys. That's turning out really, really pretty. So now I'm gonna put this to the side because I want to show you how to make a cute little bow. So I'm gonna bring, let me give this a little wipe real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring my ribbon, and because this ribbon is too thick or too wide to make any loops, what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna give myself some tails. So probably about 8-inch tails, and I'm gonna dovetail on both sides. And so I'm gonna put that down, and then I'm gonna bring this Decor material, and I'm also gonna do the same thing. So basically just cut about 8 inches. Remember, we want all the same elements to be all throughout all of our decorations at home. Make sure that you dovetail that guy right here, and I'm gonna lay that down like that. So that's gonna be the beginning of our bow, and I have a zip tie somewhere, so let me just get a zip tie. It went away from me. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna pinch this guy right here, and that's gonna be like our tail, and then we're gonna cross the other one, and we're gonna pinch right there as well. That's gonna be our tails of the wider ribbons. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring my polka dotted ribbon, and I'm going to give myself a tail. I'm going to pinch, and then I'm going to, oh, here's my zip tie. I'm going to do a loop, and then I'm gonna remember to always spin around so you can get all of that beautiful pattern, okay? And then I'm gonna do, because these are going to be only 2 ribbons that I'm gonna use to do loops, I'm going to do 3 loops each, and I'm gonna cut right here. I will make sure that I dovetail those at the end. Then I'm gonna bring my other one, and it's going to be this beautiful glitter lame. It's one of my favorites. I'm gonna pinch right here, giving it a tail. Remember to always put the tail in first. Then I'm gonna pinch right here, and then I'm going to twist around, and I'm going to go back up again and pinch, and then I'm gonna pinch again, and I'm gonna do a third one right here like that. So I'm gonna cut, and so now using my zip tie, I'm going to zip tie all of this together. Now remember what I said, that if the thicker the ribbon is, just do tails for a small project. If you're making a bigger project, of course you can always do tails for everything, but because this is a smaller project, what I want to do is just want to make sure that I have some of the fabric, and look at that. So now what you can do is just fluff all of your tails, all of them like this, and all of your bows, including that Decor material. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dovetail these guys real quick to make them a little bit smaller because they are a little long. And look how cute this was. Super easy and simple. Oh my gosh, this 1-inch ribbon is so beautiful. You have to have the variation of widths on your ribbons to make sure that you create some pattern and then also some texture into your ribbon. All right, so that's gonna be it. Now here's the trick how we're going to attach. I'm gonna grab a big wire, And I have one that is, let's see, I have one already here. It's about, probably I want to say about a 20 gauge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a U-shaped clip like this. And I'm going to go through the zip tie right here. Oh my goodness, I forgot to cut it. Here's the zip tie. We're going to cut the excess of that. And then we're going to push that little US pin right here. So now I'm going to bring my little arrangement and I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the wire to make sure that when it goes in the foam, well, it'll stay there. Okay, so now I'm going to add it right here to the side. And look at that. That just gives you all of the ribbons, all of the patterns. How adorable is this, you guys? So far, so good. This is what it's looking. I'm gonna bring the rest and show you a few more tricks. Stay tuned. So this is what the candlestick is looking like right now, and I love the way this looks. However, what we're going to do is we're gonna add some of the elements that we put on the rest of the projects or DIYs that we did with this particular theme. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually gonna cut some individual foliages from this. I'm gonna do 3 of this, and I'm gonna reserve the rest. I'm gonna put it right here on the bottom, and then I'm gonna cut 3 of these big ones as well. Remember to always try and add the same elements to all the projects to make them look cohesive. I'm gonna do another glitter one, so it has some of that beautiful glitter. So I have 6 foliages that I'm going to add. And then also what I'm going to add is some of these cute glitter pumpkins. They already have a pick to them, so I'm gonna put them right here on the side. But I'm gonna start with these foliages right here. So I'm gonna add some glue right here, making sure that I smear really good. I'm gonna spin this around to me. And I'm gonna open right here and I'm just gonna go ahead and add it. I'm gonna start right here with a bow. And so I added a purple one, and now I'm gonna add a black one, so I'm gonna add more glue to it right here. Isn't this fun, you guys? This would be so beautiful on a server, on an entryway table. It just would be so pretty in your home like this, making sure that you give that foliage a little shape. Look how cute that is. And so now I'm gonna add, I think I'm gonna add another purple one, 2 purple ones and a black one. But make sure that you are generous with your hot glue gun and it won't come off. Okay, so I'm gonna add one right here, like the ribbons are. Look at that, how adorable it is. And so now what I'm gonna do is to balance on the other side, I'm gonna do 2 of the black ones. And I'm going to make sure that I add a lot of glue so it sticks to the foliages. Let's see, I'm gonna add it right about here, like that. And then I'm gonna add yet another one right here. So 2 of the black. Let me see, I'm gonna put this guy right here. Okay, so I wanna show you a close-up of what it looks like with the pumpkin on top, and then explain that these guys right here need to be bent a little bit so the light really catches it. But as you guys can see, this was done mainly with all recycled item, and I just added a few items. Let me change it for the candle and I'll be right back to show you the candle style. Okay, so here it is with the candle, and this would be, like I said, perfect for a server, perhaps an entryway table, maybe a buffet table, and it was super easy to make. I really do hope that you guys are inspired to create something beautiful and different this year for your fall decorating. All right, so we're gonna start with our fabulous Halloween wreath, and I just wanna mention that I went ahead and gave it a coat of this black spray paint to our form to darken it a little bit more. And then also I wanna do something different today. So instead of a round shape, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten this just a little bit. So we're gonna put some weight into it, and we're gonna go ahead and make it more of an oval shape, because I feel like for this particular project, because the sign is longer, and then also because your doors are longer, I think it will look way better. And so now what we're going to do is we're gonna push some of these bristles down onto the middle of it to kind of cover some of it. Now the reason why I like working with this greenery is because you see all of these ties that you already get when you have your wreath already. So what we're going to do is make sure that it's flattened and it is an oval shape, as you guys can see. So now I'm gonna put this to the side and I'm gonna put it right here. So what I'm gonna start to do is I'm gonna cut some barrels, and I'm not gonna measure it. You guys don't really have to measure it, so it has to be probably about 18 to 20 inches. And I want to do maybe, I want to say, let's do 7 of each. So that's 2, 3. I'm gonna cut all of them and I'll be right back with you. Stay tuned. I'm also gonna use this Decor material, but as you guys can see, it's a 21-inch long, and because I only want it to be about 10 or 11 inches, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna cut half of it. It's a big roll, so it's gonna take a while. Keep watching. Well, as you guys can see, it's taken 4 hands to get this done, but I really wanted to use this particular mesh, so I'm gonna keep going and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm gonna start with some of the orange ones, and what I wanna do is I wanna make sure that I do double barrels, like so. And then what you want to do is you want to pinch right here in the middle, and you're going to start on the outside, and you're going to grab some of these bristles and just twist them real good. What we're trying to do is give it some shape, and of course I'm going to alternate every single one of them. So I'm going to do an orange one. Actually, I want to do double barrels because they look way cuter than single barrels. Then you pinch, and then you do an orange one, then you do a black one. I brought some of the flat ones to roll, and as you guys can see, I'm going to alternate all of this, making double barrels. It is super easy. Then you pinch right here in the middle, you grab 2 twisty ties from this wreath, then you give them a fluff like that. I'm gonna bring another orange one, making double barrels. This is an easy step. It just looks a little bit more complicated than it really is, but as you guys can see, all you have to do is grab 2 of those bristles, give them a twist. Now I'm gonna introduce a black one, of course, doing double barrels. Now this is something that you have to be really careful with, because if they tag on to something, they pull and then there goes your barrel. So I'm gonna do that right there. I'm gonna continue to add some of these flat ones. They are perfect for the sign. It has all of the colors that our sign has. You're gonna pinch right here, and then you're going to introduce it right here. Super easy. I'm gonna continue doing this all throughout the wreath, and I'll be right back so I don't bore you guys with this easy step. Stay tuned. Okay, so I'm at the point where I'm about to add the last 3 barrels. So I figure I talk to you guys about what I learned on this particular class that I took. The lady said that the first thing you have to do is make sure that you do double rolls to give it all the texture. So what that means is that you go from end to end, and then you roll inward, and then what you want to do is you pinch and gather, and then you introduce into your wreath. You grab 2 twisty ties, or 2 of these bristles, twisty ties, and then we're gonna do one last one. So you basically open them up, and you're going to roll inward, both of them. Then you want to pinch right here, and that's going to be our last one in this wreath. All right, you guys, so this is step number 1. So we've added all of the deco mesh that you probably won't even see, to be honest, but it will give your wreath a little bit of girth and statement on your door. So we're going to move on to step number 2. Okay, so the next step, or step number 2, is going to be to decide where do we want our sign to sit, and we have to make some room for it. So we have to push some of these bristles out so that we can put it right here. So that's where I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab some of these bristles, and I'm going to just go ahead and tie it right here at the bottom of the leg. Actually up here on the top. So I'm gonna grab 2, and I'm just gonna do this to secure it real quick because we're going to glue it anyways. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it right there. I'm gonna grab my glue gun, which is going to be my tool, and then I'm gonna add some glue under it. And then I'm gonna do the same with this guy right here, making sure that I glue it in several places so that way it'll stay. I'm gonna grab some right here, and I'm also gonna grab some right here. Just be sure you be generous with that glue so it doesn't end up going anywhere with the heat. And it is smoking, you guys. I'm gonna move my hot glue gun over to this side. So now that we have our wreath all glued together, we're gonna let it sit for a minute. And before I do that, I'm gonna bring back my ribbons and start doing step number 3. Okay, so we went ahead and added the sign to the wreath, and then also I added some ribbons. As you guys can see, there is a bow on the bottom, and then some loops on the top, and some tails all over the place. Let's do step number 3. Okay, for this step, what we're going to do is we're gonna make some bows, and for that I have my trusty wires. I'm gonna go ahead and give it probably about, I want it to be a little bit of a longer tail because we can always cut it short. So I'm gonna go about probably 8 inches, and I'm gonna do 2 loops only, and remember to always twist so you always have the pretty side of this beautiful ribbon up. So I'm gonna go like that, and then I'm gonna cut. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this to the side, and I'm going to introduce my next ribbon, and it's going to be this beautiful zebra pattern, and I'm also going to give it another 6 inches. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do another bow right here and just go down like this, and then you twist to bring that pattern up, and then you're going to do yet another one just going down like this. So now we have this, and I'm gonna cut right here. And so now what I want to do is I'm going to introduce yet another ribbon that I should have opened before I started. And I do like this lime green with orange because our sign has some lime green on the dripping on the cauldron, and then also I think the orange will really pop from that. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna introduce this ribbon with the glitter polka dots facing up, making sure that I know. Okay, so yeah, this side. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it another tail right here, and then I'm going to do a cute little bow like this. And then what we're going to do is go down and then do yet another one like this. And so now I'm going to cut my ribbon, and I'm going to move these two. So basically you have a 3-loop bow. Oh, it got stuck on my thumb. That is so funny. All right, so now the last one I'm going to introduce is going to be this orange because we want some glitter. It wouldn't be a festivity without any glitter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of this really pretty glitter orange, and then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to go down, and I'm going to pinch. What I like about this one is because it has a beautiful backing on it. So I'm going to cut right here, and I'm going to move my ribbon over here. So now that I have it all like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the bottom right here without even needing anything to tie it. What I'm going to do is just grab 2 of these bristles, and I'm going to push all the way down. And then I'm going to grab another one from the bottom, and I'm going to tie them with these 2 bristles really, really tight, making sure that they stay in place like that. Give it a few spins. And so now what you need to do is you need to fluff all of your bows like this, making sure you have a black one going up, a pink one going up and down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to dovetail all of these tails, making sure they, like I said, they go up and down and at different heights and different variations. So basically just pinch right here, and all of these tails, I want them, like I said, some longer, some shorter. How cute is this, you guys? It's so modern looking, it's so festive, and I'm just loving, oh, I cut that one wrong. And I love it because it looks so festive and so cute, and I just think that that's what Halloween should be about, you know, enough of that spooky stuff. So I'm gonna cut yet another one. I'm gonna spin it around, so that's gonna be the bottom of it, that's why it has a bow, right? So now what I'm gonna do here on the top is I'm going to bring my 2 main ribbons, and actually, you know what? I'm gonna bring the black and white one, and then I'm going to do this beautiful zebra pattern. I'm gonna put it on top, and I'm gonna give it probably about 4-inch tail, and I'm gonna go right here, and I'm gonna grab one of my bristles and grab and twist, and that's gonna stay right there, right? So that's gonna give us some tails that we're gonna play with. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my 2 ribbons, making sure that they're both, I'm gonna give it, as you guys can see, a loop like this. I don't want a bow because there's already a bow on the bottom, but I do want a loop up here on the top. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab 2 of those bristles, and I'm going to spin and twist. Then I'm gonna separate so you can see both, and then I am going to cut with a dovetail up here, starting with the black and white, so it gave us some tails, and then this beautiful zebra pattern as well, starting to remove those ribbons out from sight. And then I'm gonna dovetail this one And I'm going to dovetail this one as well. Perfect. So far we have the loop up here on the bow on the top. We have the bow on the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do the same thing that I did up here, but I'm gonna do it on the side. So I'm gonna grab my black and white, and then I'm gonna put my zebra on top, and I'm gonna give him probably about 4-inch tail, because you can always cut shorter. And what you're going to do is you're gonna start right here, and also be sure to intertwine them. You don't wanna have them all at the same height, like that. And then what you want to do is do a loop, but you wanna make sure that both ribbons are together like this, so that loop looks cohesive. You guys, I'm really hoping that you guys are learning something with this video, because I really enjoy taking that class, and I always thought of you when I was taking that class. I was like, I want to teach everybody everything that I just learned. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start dovetailing right here. I know so many of you do this to sell, and I really do hope that you are getting inspired to make something new for your customers. And if you are just doing it for your home, well, you're gonna have the prettiest door this Halloween. And stay tuned, because we'll be doing some holiday ones, maybe even some fall ones like this, to give you even more ideas on how to do all of these wreaths. And see how it's filling up already? All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna switch sides. I'm gonna go around, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing over here. So I'm gonna grab my ribbon, putting that black and white one on the bottom, and I'm gonna put them like this. I'm gonna cinch right here. I'm gonna grab one of those bristles, grab another bristle, and then I'm gonna twist. And then make sure that they are together. The secret here is that they stay together to create that loop, okay? And then what we're gonna do is you're gonna go as far down as you can, which is what's gonna keep that loop shape. Then we're gonna grab our scissors, and I'm going to cut right here on a tail. And you remember to always also cut them at different lengths and heights, so that way they look more like tails and they don't look so intentional. If they look less intentional, they are more pleasing to the eye. So you wanna make sure that they're not all cut at the same length. Because remember, perfection does not exist, so we should not be looking for it. All right, so far, so good. That's what it looks like. But now, to take it even more over the top, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do the same thing, but now I'm gonna let that drop on the floor, actually. So is this one. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to layer these two right here, and I'm gonna pinch, and I'm gonna start over on this side. I'm gonna pinch, and I'm going to go right here, because we want some of this same ribbon as tails. And just go and pinch and swoop like this. And then what you want to do is you do a big loop. Remember to keep them together like this. And then you pinch and you go in. And then what I want to do is tie it. Make sure you do this. And now see, you see all of your ribbons. Now I'm going to do yet another one, but I'm going to do a smaller one. So I'm going to do here, and I'm gonna go in right here, and then just grab my, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut. And remember to dovetail all of your ribbons so they look finished. How cute is this, you guys? I cannot wait for you to see what's next. All right, so we have two swoops, two loops right here. All of our ribbons need to be split, so you see all of them, all of the tails. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, and I'll be right back. Keep watching. All right, everyone, so we've added our ribbons, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some greeneries, because it shouldn't be a wreath without some greenery. And you know what I like to do is cut all of my greeneries at once. So what I'm gonna do is do that right ahead, and then we're gonna start inserting those, but I'm going to put them right here to the side. And I have a boxwood, then I have this beautiful longer boxwood, which is what's gonna give our wreath some height. So we're gonna cut that one as well. I'm gonna put this guy over this side, and then I have this really pretty flower that has purple in it that is gonna be more towards the inside of it. So there's some beautiful flowers in our wreath. And there's gonna be some other elements that I will show you, but first what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of these beautiful flowers wherever I want them. So I'm gonna start right here in the middle. And so here's the top of it. All I'm gonna do is add some right here. And when you do that, you will have to look for a place. And then let me move these guys over to the side. What you need to do is add some glue to it right here and right here, if that's where you want them, okay? And move this over here. I'm gonna start adding some of these beautiful flowers here and there so they pop off like this. Remember, what happens on the left happens on the right. Take this tag off. And what goes up must come down. And be sure to intertwine them also everywhere like this. I'm gonna put one right here on the bottom. And see how that little bit of greenery just gives your wreath a little bit of pizzazz. And what I'm gonna do is add some glue to it right here, like so. And then this one right here, and another one right here, and one more right here. And that will hold them into place. So now what I'm going to do is, this one I'm gonna put a little bit more glue to it. That'll run down and then it'll attach to some greenery. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some of these really beautiful boxwood, but this one I want it more towards the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring it behind my ribbon and just leave it there. And I'm gonna, remember, what goes up must come down, and because I have the bows right here, I have to go to the side right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some glue and put it in. And so now I'm gonna do the corners coming out of my ribbon. So I'm gonna grab one right here. And the other thing you can do is you can add glue to it like this, but you're gonna waste a lot of it because it's going to run out. So where you just add it into the stem, when it's already there, then it goes in. So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna, instead of adding it, I'm gonna add it right here behind the boot. And then what I do is I grab my hot glue gun and just let it run a little bit down. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring some of this down over here in between my bows, and then also here. And I'm gonna add like that, and then some right here. Voila! So we have two types of greenery already in it, and now what I'm gonna add is some of this beautiful greenery with a purple flower as well. And like I told you, I'm gonna go up here on the top, so I'm gonna add one. And then you wanna do the longest ones up on the top and the bottom, and the short ones on the side, because you want it to be longer versus wider. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring some of this right here in the bow, like so. If I can get it in here. It's getting a little tight. You wanna mix it into your bow. I'm gonna go over to this side. Remember, the longer ones and the longer ones on the top, the shortest ones on the side, because you wanna keep that oblong shape or that longer shape. I'm gonna add one right here, and immediately I'm gonna move over to the other side over here, making sure that I put it somewhere where it's going to show. And sometimes it's getting tight, so like that. And so now this one I'm gonna probably put somewhere. I'm gonna cut it in half because it's too long, and that's another thing you can do is just cut them in half, so that way you keep that oblong shape. And look how that tiny little greenery just added so much to it. I'm gonna get ready for the next step and I'll be right back. Keep watching. Well, as you can see, I went ahead and added some of those greens with purple flowers, and that just adds a lot of character to the wreath. You have to weave them in and out and make sure that they have some color on the flower that goes with the wreath. All right, let's move on to step number 4. All right, you guys, so far I am loving the way this is looking. As you guys can see, it's filling up really nicely and it's looking so cute with the colors. So now what I want to do is I'm gonna add some of these bright and vibrant picks that I showed you before, the ones with the witch hats, the very colorful ones to go with the colors, and some other ones that I will show you as I go. So I'm gonna start with this. Actually, I'm gonna start with the colorful ones. I'm gonna pick them up because I just put them down Then I'm gonna put these ones down. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna cut this right here, and I only have 2 of each, so I'll show you when you don't have very many quantities of it. I will show you a trick to make it look cohesive and beautiful. So just be sure to cut them short. I'm gonna cut these ones as well. I'm gonna have 1 and 2, and remove all of those tags to make sure that they don't have tags all over the place. Then what you want to do is I'm gonna cut this one in half to have 4, so there's 2, and then I'm gonna cut this one right here and then make 2. And this one, unfortunately, we cannot cut because it's just 1, but I love it. So okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start with the pink one because we only have 2. So I'm gonna put down one down here on the bottom, and remember, what goes up must come down, and immediately you have to go opposite side to make it look very well balanced. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab some of these guys right here that are very whimsical with the purple bowls, and I'm gonna one right here, and then I'm gonna add one right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna cut this one even in more, and I'm gonna add one right here in the middle to make sure that I go all the way around my wreath like that. Just find a place like that, and then I'm gonna add yet another one over here like this. And I have one left that I'm gonna also cut in 2, and I'm gonna go over to this side, and then I'm gonna go over to this side, and now I'm gonna glue all of this together. All right, everyone, so for the last step, which is going to be to add our ornaments, we're gonna do the more traditional way, and that's going to be adding our hot glue pen, because I wanna make sure that these ornaments really stay in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna dig into my glue, and then I'm going to add this ornament right here. Now, the hot glue pen does really seem to stick better to this kind of materials when it comes down to ornaments. So what I'm going to do is just swirl the top where the cup goes, then swirl like this, and then I'm going to lift up somewhere right here, and I'm gonna add an ornament, and just hold it for a few seconds and it should stay, because this glue really does have a lot of tack to it. So when you are doing standing sprays like this glue right here does really hold on better than the hot glue gun, which you guys can see. I've already tried, and well, they were falling off, so I had to get this glue pen out and plugged in. So basically just give them a little smear to it, and then add your ornament wherever you want it, and just hang on to it for a few seconds, and that should stick right where you want it. All right, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab this little one right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put it really close together to create a cluster just like in here, but I'm going to open, and I want them to be together like this. So I'm gonna hold them real quick for a few seconds so they get tacked together, and that should really do the trick. Okay, so now that those are sticking there, what we're going to do is I'm gonna grab some of these black and white ones, and I'm gonna use 2 of them. You will see what I do with them. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna dig into my glue right here, swirl it around, and for these particular ones, I'm gonna open up right here, and I'm gonna go in here, making sure that I go in. We'll adjust those ribbons in a second. Then I'm gonna go opposite this right here, and I'm going to swirl right here some glue, spin it around, and I'm gonna go catty corner. Remember, what goes up must come down, and so I'm going to add this guy right here, and that's gonna tie in with all of our ribbons, which I think is going to be super cute. Just make sure that you hold on to it for a second while it tucks in onto your glue. You know, if it hangs on to the greenery, it does really stay, but it seems like all these ribbons the glue is not liking, so you just have to make sure that you hang on to it for a few minutes to make it stay. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the same with these beautiful circle polka dotted ones. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna probably put one right here on the top, and the other one catty corner on the bottom, and I'll be right back to give you the next step. All right, you guys, well, I want to show you how the end result looks like on the door, and as you guys can see, it is a lot of beautiful ribbons and ornaments, and the beautiful sign that says trick or treat. Right here you can see the little witches hats, all of the ornaments, and the little pumpkins, and all of the little tails of ribbons. I did went ahead and added these leaves with sequins that are purple, but I just want you to see how beautiful this looks on a front door. this is something that you can definitely make. It is super easy if you just follow the instructions on how to create a beautiful Halloween wreath DIY step by step. I really do think this makes a statement on your door. Oh my gosh, look at those little springy twirly pigs. They just look so beautiful, and the way that the ribbons move with the wind, you guys, it really does make a statement.